The recent release of the OG Air Max 180 pack really inspired me, and I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to break out the first few years of the Air Max collection. And then I want to talk about the Air Structure Triax, which released in 1991. Those are the four shoes down on the bottom here, but before we get into those, let's put them in their place by going from 1987 to 1992. Right here in my hand is a pair of Air Max 1s. These are from the History of Air collection that was released early on in 2006. The Air Max 1 is the first pair of Nikes to feature visible Nike Air technology. They were designed by Tinker Hatfield, and his inspiration was the George Pompidou Center. This shoe was originally released in 1987. I want to go from 87 to 88, 89, 90, 91, the Air 180s came out in 92, and then we'll go back to 1991 and have a look at these structure triaxes. Come on over here and let's have a look at the Air Stab from 1988, and then we'll look at the Air Max Light from 1989. You can see right away when you look at the Air Stab that there are teeth stabbing through the air bubble. 1 year after the Air Max 1 was released, in 1988, Nike was already tinkering with the air bubble by stabbing teeth through it. Have a look at the Air Max 1 air bubble compared to the Air Stab air bubble. By the way, in 1988, Nike also started the Just Do It ad campaign. Let's look up here now at the Air Max Lights, and we can compare those with the Air Max 1. The Air Max Light was released in 1989, and you can see that the air bubble on the Air Max Light really resembles the same one as the Air Max 1. By the way, these two shoes are limited edition Dave White exclusive pairs, and they get their colorway inspiration from the cool gray neon yellow Air Max 95s. Let's move on from 88 and 89 over here to 1990 and 91. Of course you are familiar with these shoes, the infrared Air Max 90 and then the Air Classic BW, where BW stands for big window. And when you look at these shoes with the Air Max 1, you can see that the air bubble has sort of gotten bigger over time. The big window Air Classic BW was the biggest ever released at the time in 1991. The same year as those structured triaxes that we're going to look at in a second. And then over here, really quickly, a pair of the Air Max 180s. This is the Concord edition as worn by Michael Jordan back in Barcelona in 1992. And the big innovation with this shoe, of course, is 180 degrees of visible air. So you can see right away in the first few years of the Air Max, the air bubble's getting teeth stabbed through it. It's going back to the Air Max 1. It's getting bigger. There's air visible underneath. And then we've got the Structure Triax. 1991, the same year as the Air Classic BW and 1 year before the Air Max 180s. Let's have a look at one pair of these really quickly. The Structure Triax was really touted as being a super comfortable shoe with a lot of cushioning in here. But the big innovation, come on over because I really want you to see this. Look at the air window over here. It's sort of like frowning. At least that's what I always thought. But the big crazy innovation about the Structure Triax is remember what that air window looks like and then check it out on the other side. It's sort of like a small little triangle. This was the first pair of Air Maxes that's going to have a different size air bubble inside than outside. And there really aren't that many different models like this. So you can see these different pairs of these Structure Triax 91s. It's definitely not as popular as the bigger Air Maxes like the Air Max 1, 90, 95, 97, but the Shoezeum had to have them all. And they were put in chronological order. So if there was a big shoe in the Air Max line, not necessarily as big as the big hitters, I still had to have them, and these were some of the Structure Triax 91s on display in the Shoezeum.